Welcome to Document News. Iran has erupted into violence since December 7th, 2025, and we are now in the studio with Mia and Kathrine. Please, delighted to see you. And what do you feel is the situation on the streets of Iran today?
Well, I've been watching all night, and the blackout, the internet blackout, has been going on since Thursday night. Now it's Saturday or around lunchtime. I know Iran is 2.5 hours ahead of us. So thanks to Elon Musk and Starlink, we actually have been able to get some videos, see some pictures. And I must say, it's exciting, all of it. But our Norwegian state broadcaster, NRK, for example, yesterday, I think they sent 5 minutes of the Minnesota shooting, and there were 12 seconds with what's going on in Iran. So I think it's good that we're sitting down today and take a look at what's happening right now, because mainstream media is not doing their job.
Kathrine, you are in Scotland. What is the situation near Edinburgh?
Well, it's pretty similar to what Mia is describing. I did just check the BBC website right now, and it is the top news story at the moment, which is a bit of a change because just like NRK, the BBC and the other big news organizations here have been largely ignoring what's going on in Iran. And it's quite disappointing and quite surprising, really, that when this huge oppressive regime is about to fall, there's a big revolution going on, and you wonder what side is the BBC on, what side is the official Britain on. Are they on the side of the mullahs, or are they on the side of freedom? And you're sort of left wondering a little bit because of how they cover this huge news story. Sky News, for example, they were reporting that it was Israeli terrorists who were helping uprisers in Iran. So it's a very skewed picture of what's actually going on. And I think if it hadn't been for platforms like X, Instagram, social media, we wouldn't really know what's going on because they haven't been covering it. I did check that GB News, they've been quite good about this. They all last night were just reporting on Iran and what's happening. So we do have a little bit of balance, but the state broadcaster is very disappointing, just like in Norway. So it's the same situation. Now Britain has been going, just like you said, in Norway, are they actually supporting the Islamist regime? And you start to wonder, and when countries like the Emirates have told Britain that they don't want to send students to Britain anymore because there's too many people from the Muslim Brotherhood represented in Britain, you just wonder if we're going the same way that Iran actually did, not to the same extent, hopefully, but it's quite a curious situation unfolding.
Mia, you are in Oslo now, and what is going on outside our parliament? I just passed it a moment ago, and I saw there was a big group of Iranian refugees from the Ayatollah regime making a protest. But just up the road and near the Foreign Office, there is a demonstration against the American engagement in Venezuela, and that's where all the Norwegian media attention is.
I bet. Well, I mean, it's not much coming out, like I said, through the mainstream media. So you referred to basically X or 2C TV, and they're doing an excellent job. What's happening now is that there's still a blackout, and it's really strange that there's so little interest, or that the mainstream media is so reluctant to cover it, because a blackout is not really a crowd control. It's really when they're switching off the lights it's because they don't want witnesses. So I assume, and we will get numbers. I've heard 50 were killed last night, but that it was bloody, yes. Thursday night was bloody, and Friday I heard that that some people like Tusi TV said that they expected maybe less people coming out in the street because of fear, but they were actually coming out in even greater numbers last night. And this was connected to that, well, we can call him the crown prince, or we really shouldn't. I mean, he's the son of the last Shah, and Pahlavi, right? Yes, Reza Pahlavi. So he encouraged to this. He encouraged people both Thursday night and Friday night at 8 o'clock local time to hit the streets, and they did. And they're no longer. I mean, when this started 2 weeks ago, they were calling for specific reforms because of the economic situation mostly. Now they are calling for taking down the whole regime. So it is heating up. We're reaching some sort of point, and it is gonna be even more bloody, I guess, before this is out, before it ends.
Kathrine, we have watched with interest America take down Maduro in Venezuela, and he has threatened the Iranian regime with consequences if they shoot on demonstrators. And there has been some violence, but not yet the massacre we were kind of expecting. Do you think the Iranian regime are on their back foot, or are they fearing America's response?
Well, let's hope so. I don't really have any inside information on that, so I can only speculate like you are really.
Yes.
But let's just hope that that's the case. And I think maybe, I mean, I think Trump has shown that he's a man of action. So perhaps Iran, they're thinking, hang on, he might actually follow up on his words. So let's be careful. And if the rumors are true, they are planning their departure, and they'll flee the scene. And then fingers crossed that we can have a peaceful revolution in Iran, and they will move towards some kind of democracy with human rights, respect for women, etc. And then let's see how the media will report on this, because this is such a big news story, and watching the news here, you won't really believe it is. What's actually a little bit concerning here in Britain is that Keir Starmer's government is threatening to ban X for British users because of the way Grok can undress people via AI, how they can manipulate pictures, and they're using this as an excuse to possibly ban X. And just at this time, we really need platforms like X to keep us up to date with what's going on. As you mentioned, Maya Tusi does a great job as well. He's had difficult working conditions in the UK. I mean, he feels that people are out to get him, not just people from Iran, but the hate speech laws, etc. Here, it's getting harder and harder to criticize Islam. And I think although Keir Starmer and I think Macron and the German chancellor as well have been condemning what's going on in Iran with the violence, they're not really coming out as hard as Trump is, are they? They are just stepping back a bit and watching it from the sidelines. So I think let's hope Trump will follow through if there is mass violence from the Iranian regime. But let's also just hope that this will actually be a peaceful transition.
Mia and Kathrine, you are both women who are not wearing the hijab, but in the Norwegian state broadcaster, also the British, this garment is, making ever more frequent appearances, also in posters and ads. series. So do you think there's an uncomfortable sensation amongst our globalist leaders that the Iranian people is now burning the hijab, even burning mosques, and they have difficulty explaining this? What do you think, Naya?
Yes, of course. Yes, we're reaching the difficult point here now, because was it yesterday that the Austrian Prime Minister encouraged all women to start wearing head covers in solidarity with the Muslim women who wears it for their religion? And I had to see that clip like 3 times, because I thought like there must be some irony or something I'm missing here. But he was dead serious, and that's where we are now in Europe. And of course, that's why the mainstream media is having a hard time relating to what's happening in Iran right now, because women are, like you said, they're burning their head covers, they're burning their hijabs in Iran, and they're even burning mosques. And this is they're rebelling against a oppressing regime, and so does also our state broadcaster stating, NRK, that yes, it's an oppressive regime. What they treading very lightly around is that it's an oppressive Islamic regime, and that's very difficult for them to actually say out loud, because in Europe right now we're being told front and center that Islam is the religion of love and peace. So this doesn't really match, does it? And another thing is, of course, that the Iranian people, or let me start saying that the Iranian regime is anti-American. The protesters hitting the streets right now are not. They are actually calling for America and Trump to come to their aid. They're tagging on the walls. They're holding up signs saying, Trump, the protector of truth, don't let us die. This is not very fitting for European TV channels that have been criticizing Trump and America for well over a decade now. So this is a difficult time for the mainstream media, for sure.
The local media in Scotland is also very anti-American and very anti-Israel. So how is the coverage in Scotland?
Well, it's lacking here as well. It's even more so. Yeah, I think this is just a very uncomfortable situation for them, because their ideas of Islam is not quite matching up to the realities of Islam. And everyone can see that, normal people can see that, but the liberal elite doesn't really want to open their eyes, because they've been their allies. These are the people who are meant to vote for them, so they just need to keep them on side, really. I mean, and especially here in Britain, we have such a large population that is Muslim. So there's a lot of pandering to them, really, to keep their votes. The left and Islam, they're sort of there's an alliance there, and they don't want to lose their voters. We've already seen there's an sort of Islamist party popping up here on the left, but they haven't done very well yet. But they are, building their base. They're building up because they've been disappointed with Labour as well. So yeah, it's a very chaotic situation, really, and it's yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they cover it. If they hopefully succeed in Iran and there is a transition to democratic
now. And it's very exciting. I know there's a lot of talk right now in Iran about the Shah, and if the Shah's son will come in and temporarily or permanently come back. And I think a lot of people find that romantic and very nationalistic. I don't think it's important at this point. I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be an issue right now, because it's the fight is still on. There might be other actors coming in, like Hezbollah, like Iraq, and we really don't know what's going on ground right now. We've heard the rumors says that the Khamenei, the Ayatollah, that he has gone into hiding in a bunker. Something well, even Trump said in a interview with Hannity that he's looking to get out of there. Maybe other people are saying no. The Ayatollah doesn't really have much of a outside network, so he might stay till the bitter end. So we don't know. There's a lot of unsurety here, uncertainty, and X factors that we just don't know. We have to sit here and speculate. But I think that when people are saying, "Well, where is U.S., where is America, where is Israel? Why aren't they, making the most out of this opportunity?" I think they are. I don't think they're sitting on the sideline, twiddling their thumbs and waiting for the outcome.
The Iranian people are obviously angry that the government has squandered their billions from oil revenue on an atomic bomb program, as well as guerrillas and terrorist groups across the world, like the Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis in Yemen. So, Kathrine, do you see more positive benefits for the world if Iran gets a new, more Western-oriented government?
Well, I think it can only be good news on many fronts, but I think having potential trading partner, an ally in the Middle East, I mean, it's going to change a lot. Iran's been an enemy for the West for such a long time, and if we can get Iran on board, I mean, that's huge possibilities, I think, and it's great news for the US, for Europe. So I think I see mainly good things. I'm hoping it's only good things coming out of this, but I also see that there could be the possibility of unrest in places like big cities like Birmingham, where there's a lot of Muslims. There's a lot of radical Islamists in Britain and in Europe as well. They've all come here and they've all been pandered to by the states here. We've all pandered to them a lot and given them special protection. So I think there is a risk that there could be some protests even here. But I think on the whole, for the world as a whole, I think it's great news. And hopefully this is just the beginning, really. Yeah, I hope. Or there's other countries that are still under the thumb of radical Islam and authoritarian regimes. So let's hope this is just the first of more to come.
As women, you must have noticed especially that the hijab was not a common garment to wear in the 90s, early 2000s, at least not in Norway. And now you even see the niqab being worn. And many European women defend these un-European clothes. So do you think women as well, especially younger women, can be rescued from a very strong woke ideology or propaganda they are being exposed to?
Well, this
by the
is
fall of Iran.
I mean, the shared memory is so short now these days, isn't it? I mean, it's not long ago. I mean, it is in the 70s. Like you said, the revolution was in 1979, right? In Iran. And before that, they would wear jeans and drink Coke and wear T-shirts and their hair, wearing their hair long down their backs, just like everybody else in the Western world. So, but for some reason now, we Europeans are full of like, oh, we protect the rights to wear the hijab. It's a weird thing, and it's what God Saad is calling suicidal empathy, because we really have no clue. And also parts of the Arabic world doesn't even allow head covers in public. So Europe is more radical than most places on earth when it comes to how to practice Islam. I mean, I don't see a lot of Arabic countries where streets are being allowed filled with people who wants to pray, blocking traffic or filling up public squares. But here in Europe, we don't want to offend. We don't want to interfere. We're saying, oh, it's their right. They need to do this. They are religious, and we're not. So, so this is very important that we allow room for this.
We heard our Iranian guest Nasser describing how his country has been in continuous decline since '79, and as Europeans, as Scandinavians and Norwegians, we have the same creeping feeling of managed decline. So what do you think, Kathrine, about what we are observing now? Can this be a kind of a new spring for us, some positive news coming out of the Middle East, extended Middle East?
Yeah, I think definitely so. Managed decline is a very good description of what's actually happening, because when you look around here in Britain as well, things are gradually getting worse and worse, but it's not a catastrophe. Things are still sort of hanging together. You can still go and see your doctor somewhat, you just have to wait a long time, etc. And there's just a lot of problems in a lot of sectors, and a lot of everything is basically falling apart, but it's quite slow. So not everyone, you don't really recognize it every day, but it's happening. Standards are slipping. Public finances are in a state. It's just nothing's improving anymore. I think I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and we had that feeling of everything getting better all the time, and progress was sort of inevitable. We thought, the future is going to be even better than what we have now. And looking back, I think we actually, in our youth, we're actually quite lucky. We thought we had all the possibilities in the world, and now it's hard for young people to find jobs, and they have huge debts. They all go to university, but there's not enough positions being offered at the end of that. So it's a very different world. And I think if what's happening in Iran can show us, if they manage to come out of this with optimism, and if they can grasp the opportunities, if they can manage to invest in education and in human rights, etc., maybe we can then see that it's still possible to come back from this managed decline and to turn things around. And there are lots of people who are optimistic. We just need a regime change all over Europe, really, don't we? But hopefully not as drastic as what's happening in Iran. But we just need to use our we need to go and vote, really, don't we? And try and find an alternative to the state that we're in.
It was your great Scottish compatriot, the economist Adam Smith, who said there's a great deal of ruin in a country. And that has been especially Norway's problem. We are, at least in theory, a very rich state. So it takes a long time to ruin it. But maybe it's what you're describing now, both of you, a very hopeful situation where Iran can give us this tremendous gift of freedom, return to us as well. So I think, do you want to have some closing statements?
Yeah, what Kathrine said, because I was also thinking that it's such a weird time we're living in, where we're talking about Greenland for Greenlanders, and we think it's wonderful to see the old flag of Iran with the lion and the sun, and patriotism and people that are and people who are allowed to take pride and love in their country. And we're sitting here and living in a society where we're we're not supposed to, feel particularly connected to it, or as our own politicians are saying that, you have no more right to this country of yours than anybody else. And what is a Norwegian after all? Isn't that just a, matter of a passport? And I know England is the same, and it's the same script happening in most European countries right now, at least West Europe. So it's ironic now to see country after country, and we defend them, and we're saying, "Yay, go! You have a right to call something yours, and you have a right to be a people, and to, have an identity as a nationality." And we're sitting there thinking like, well, yeah, that's kind of a problem for us, isn't it?
Kathrine, do you have some closing comments?
Well, just as Mia was saying there, the right to a national identity and to a culture is very important. And what Islam did to large parts of the Middle East and Africa is wipe out the identity that they used to have, the culture that they used to have. You've probably also seen this video compilation of all these women in their national costumes from the old days, from Afghanistan to Iran to Morocco to everywhere, and how distinct they were, how different they were. They all had their own identity, and that's what's happened. They've had their identity wiped out. They haven't got a culture, but they will find that culture again. They will revive it, and it is sadly somewhat similar to the situation in Europe, isn't it? Because the new sort of woke way of looking at things is that we're all just a big blob of people. We're not distinct. We're all the same. So when they say diversity is our strength, like the fact that we don't have a distinct identity is our strength. We are all different people, but we're sort of the same. I think, if we can also be inspired by that and actually use our national symbols, our national culture, and a bit of pride, without being overly, we can still tolerate other cultures, but we can keep our own identity. I think that's really, really important. And just like Mia saying, I really hope that can inspire us as well.
The British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan said some famous words at the close of the British Empire, that the winds of change are blowing across this continent, and whether we like it or not, it is a political fact. And I think these words are very appropriate for Europe today, but this time maybe the winds of change are blowing both from America and from Iran. We're living interesting times. Thank you so much, both of you, and hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.